Here we go.
The Crew Motorfest launches on September 14th.
Yes, of course.
Letting you race across
3 days of early access if you have the
almost anything with an engine.
gold or
The game is launching
the
with
other
more than
thing.
600 vehicles, which you'll use across 15 custom-made playlists.
Of course, we did just have the beta. We played a lot of this. The 600 cars, there was nowhere near any of the new cars in the beta compared to what there will be at launch. We, in fact, have a list. If I can find the list again, I will actually show the list. We have a list of all of the new cars that are coming into Motorfest. Let me find it for you. Here we go. We have a full list of all the new to the Crew cars. This is on top of everything in the Crew 2, minus Stellantis Italy. And I'm interrupting this video not only to tell you that don't worry about this list right here, because tomorrow, hopefully, I've been working on this video for over 12 hours now. We're coming up on like 15, 16 hours that I've been working on this video, and there's gonna be so many more. It's the reason I didn't upload yesterday, and it's a reaction video today, is because I'm working on a full, entire, comprehensive launch to first 3 months car list video for Motorfest, including cars that not a single other car list video on YouTube has included. That video is going to be out tomorrow, hopefully, a full car list of Motorfest. Also, subscribe, because up to 5 copies will be given away. We're so close to 80,000, which is going to be 3 copies given away at launch. So, do that. Subscribe. Would be very much appreciated. Back to the reaction. So, we got a bunch, as you can see, Charger Red Eye, S15, a bunch of very cool new licenses. Use this list wherever. Tell them to sub to SidWaj so we can give away 5 copies of Motorfest. And also, we only saw 5 of the total 15 playlists in the beta.
Japanese street
pretty cool.
racing and vintage cars to the legacies of Porsche and Lamborghini.
Yes.
We visited the development team at Ivory Tower to uncover the roots of the Crew franchise. Find out how...
I assume we equals Motorfest. Give me a minute, boys. Motorfest gameplay there. Examination is required. Chat, someone read some of those lines of code. Someone read the lines of code, chat, quick. That's the Kahaki edition. Something really tiny is there in the background. Wait, I can't see it. I can't see it.
Crew 2 still has 1 million unique players every week.
That baffles me. Did anyone know this stat? I thought, like, as far as I was aware, my total estimate was about 200,000 every week, because that's how many are ranked in the summit every week, right? So I assumed, oh, it'll be a little more people who don't play the summit, right? Because 200,000 makes sense, because in total it's about 20,000 players who get the platinum reward, and the Crew said a while ago that the platinum reward is the top 10% of players. So by that logic, 200,000 players play the summit every week. Plus you can see that by seeing the leaderboards. But the Crew gets 1 million unique players every week?
How, after 5 years, the Crew 2 still has 1 million unique players every week?
Since when?
And learn how Motorfest is the culmination of everything that makes the Crew and its creators
1 million weekly? The game's so much bigger than I thought. Yes, so Ivory Tower in 2007, I was 4 years old, and we'll hear what happened, because I do know it's rather intertwined with Test Drive.
The studio started in my mind, and Ahmed and Manu 17 years ago. It's a journey of 10, 20 people that start with an ambition and want to do more, to do a better experience.
We liked a lot to invent stuff. We thought that the best way to do it was actually to make...
God, the Crew one was pretty cool, chat.
And the pitch was, we've built a great game together with my team. It was called Test Drive Unlimited.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, a large amount of Ivory Tower is Test Drive, right? That's in their DNA, right? Which is crazy, because now people say Crew Motorfest 4 is a clone. They made Test Drive, and Test Drive are the ones that inspired Forza Horizon, and now Crew has come around and is remaking is sort of dipping into that format. But Test Drive is where a large majority of the Crew Motorfests and Crew's development team comes from. I'm aware of that. I was definitely way too young at the time,
I would like to do more.
Never played a Test Drive game personally.
Big open world, the US with all your car, all the adventure.
Okay, the game was in dire need of the graphics overhaul that it got, though. Damn.
Our code name was Route 66.
Oh.
We wanted to do it online. You know,
Fun
the
fact.
checklist of the new
Crew
territories we
Motorfest's
wanted
code
to-
name was
to
Project
explore.
Orlando.
They were very numerous.
You will have your full world and you will craft all your car with RPG stuff. I was a big fan of World
It
of
is very
Warcraft at that time.
CarPG,
I call
right?
that World of Carcraft.
And for that, we
Or
needed
World
to
of
find a
Carcraft, if you will.
partner that would share the
But
vision.
CarPG
One day,
is how I've heard it
Ubisoft.
described. So that's
this
wild to me. This came around. When did Driver San Francisco release? Driver San Francisco was the last driving game from Ubisoft, 2011. So the crew came to Ubisoft with this idea of the crew. Ivory Tower came to Ubisoft with the idea of the crew. Driver San Francisco's already in development. Ubisoft's getting in bed with a different studio. Driver San Francisco releases, becomes a cult classic, but unfortunately kills the studio because they expected insane sales, but only got mediocre at the time. And one of the best driving games of all time ends up being a lost classic now in the Ubisoft catalog and ends that franchise. And then in the year that it did, the Crew 1 releases, which was
The online
2014.
aspect, all
So
this
3
big
years
open world
after
aspect with my car, the freedom with your car was
Driver San Francisco.
for me important that I
God, it looked like a downgrade straight away, but
Need to
obviously the
bring
game
it
got a
to the
graphics
players.
overhaul later.
in the US you have
And it
so
did have the
many
whole of the
different
US.
locations.
It took longer than we thought. It was
I don't know what it is about the Crew 2. I think that not having boats and planes are nice, but you felt a lot more on the road, in the road, than you do in the Crew 2, in my opinion. But I don't know, maybe that's just me.
harder than we thought, but ultimately we managed to deliver.
You feel a lot
something,
more
I think,
immersed where you
fresh
are,
and
but I
new,
feel like
and
Motorfest
was
brings
a
that back a
great
little bit.
achievement for us.
We've got a studio, we deliver the Crew 1, but in between 7 years of hard
Yeah.
work. And the journey that you have with so many people that are now, most of them, present through the studio, even 15 years later.
Damn.
It's creating a game for us, for our life.
And on top of that, we brought the promise that it will never end. And this promise,
That's a big promise. I imagine if the game flops and starts losing Ubisoft money, Ubisoft would start to challenge that promise, but the Crew will never end is the promise. It's good stuff for my career, but we'll have to see what that means long term.
was
And when it comes to listening to the fans, we did not wait to the launch. For example, we announced the Crew 1 in 2013.
Yes.
On day one, somebody created the Reddit page. We contacted that person right away to make sure that we can get feedback on every aspect of the game as early as possible. The initial feedback that we got is that it's great to have so much content. It's great to have so many cars. It's great to have this kind of story linked to the progression of your car. But they want
It's a bit unfortunate to get rid of the whole story thing when that was when like you said, story was like linked to the like people liked that story was linked to progression, and then they got rid of it, and it's like kind of never been in the game since. So it's like, you know, you can't really progress the story anymore. So it's a bit unfortunate that was one thing that people really liked.
cars, they wanted high diversity.
More cars is right.
What we learned from TC1, really people really love when the game evolves through time.
Yes.
And it was a big learning from us. So the team learned how to do it and how to
I mean, it would
please
be
the
definitely
player
nice to
and
get a
all this
game
evolution
on launch
through
that
time
wouldn't
during
need
3 years of content updates, continuously done
evolving,
with
but
some
I get
expansion, title update, but it was very tiring.
Yeah.
And with TC2 at that time, yes, we decided for a live run.
So 4 years between the Crew 1 and 2, and then 5 years between the Crew 2 and Motorfest. So I suppose you expected, what, 6 years? I don't know. Who knows?
And
You know,
more
who knows?
defined and understandable.
Oh,
for
here
the
he is,
player.
and yes, I picked up the Crew 1 back in about it would have been 2017. Yeah, a year before the Crew 2 launched, I picked up the Crew 1 just because I remember seeing like a gameplay. I remember seeing someone playing the game on YouTube, and I was hooked in by like, this game has the whole US. And I watched this gameplay video. I was like, yo, this is sick. I was a dumb kid, so I assumed it was 1-to-1, like an idiot. I picked up the game eventually when I got a PS4 for the first time. I started playing. I loved it. I loved the game. I played through the story. I explored the map. I went everywhere. I did so much grinding. And then I saw the trailer for The Crew 2 drop. At the time, I used to play Fortnite with my mates. And it was only me and one other mate who were, like, vaguely interested in the sort of, like, cars racing games. He played Gran Turismo a lot at the time. I played racing games growing up, and The Crew 1. So what ended up happening is we just both picked up The Crew 2. I played it. Josh picked it up on, like, a couple days before launch. I was in the closed beta, the open beta, all of that. And it was really enjoyable to try out. And that's when I got into The Crew. And then I started playing from launch. When did everyone get into the Crew franchise? I'm genuinely curious. Everyone in chat, when did you get into the Crew?
And the evolution was more mastered.
Yes.
Why do we have boats and planes and not only cars? Because for me it was obvious that I would like to see from different perspectives the world.
Yeah.
It's so cool to go to the US from a plane through the cloud and see all this beautiful landscape, or inside your boat. When you can't...
The water deserves so much praising in this game. The Crew 2's water, wildly good for a game where water is a secondary feature.
Go to the water, it's frustrating. When you can't go to the air, it's frustrating. It was my answer to decrease the frustration and say to everyone,
It does add a lot of... He is right. It does add a lot of map accessibility when you add boats and planes. I can't... Now that we have boats and planes, I can't imagine not having them, right? He's kind of right. Now that we did have boats and planes at one point, it would be very restricting to go to a point where we don't have them anymore. Yeah.
So we improve every biomes, we improve every vegetation, lighting. We created many playgrounds.
I mean, the roads are much
more
smaller in the
track,
Crew.
more stuff that are related to the motorsports experience.
Yeah, so they went all in on different aspects of motorsports.
Don't bring just new content.
It's always been there, right? The Crew 1 had street cars, and then you'd make them dirt, or you'd make them drag, or you'd make them touring. So they've always had in the DNA having all these different aspects. Then in the Crew 2, that went to even more aspects, and in the Crew 3, it's gone to specializing those aspects.
Give it a story, give it a theme, and give a long framework so that players get used to.
Like back in the Crew 1, who could have played the Crew 1 and thought, yeah, we'd have Hoonigan in this game sometime?
Narrative and new character and stuff like that. But you need to tell something. You can't just bring a car. Same with the races.
Yeah.
We released the Summit Experience, which is a live competition that you have every week. And in the Crew 1, when we released it, people were present, but not enough. We worked
so the Summit was in the Crew 2,
and now
in the Crew 1.
This is the cornerstone of the live experience.
Yeah, so they consider the Summit like the big thing in the Crew 2, which is, yeah, I'd say so, I guess. And then, boys, we get to Motorfest. Yes, Hoonigan is confirmed for Motorfest. It's teased as the second season, which will be December. So 3 months in, we get Hoonigan.
With the Crew Motorfest, we had one big objective, which turned into a huge opportunity. The big objectives was to bring the next generation experience of the Crew.
So do they mean like next generation, like PS5? Is that what they mean? I don't know, actually.
I've been requesting to see in a new game after the Crew 2 a new map.
For the Crew Motorfest, we decided to decrease the size, but improve a lot the density of stuff around you.
Yes,
Improve a lot
I'd say the quality of the map is unreasonable.
Oahu is really...
It's so good, the quality of Motorfest map, man.
So
obviously, as we saw in the beta.
More technology to render now. We decided this time to have everything destructible.
I did notice that.
Liberty, this freedom of movement. Yeah, I'm proud of the team, how they take the challenge of really improving once again the quality of our game.
One of the great things that we've been able to add some amazing brands, like for example Toyota. Players have been requesting that, asking when do we get the Toyota Supra.
They've been saying that with a lot more strongly worded messages. But yeah, I'd say when are we getting the Toyota Supra was said maybe once or twice if you totaled them up. I think maybe even 3 times at a push. Minimum.
Well, and right away we also announced the Insider program.
Yeah, the Insider program began straight away.
We need to run a test that will last for a month or 7 months. And we're going to invite the most engaged players that we have in the Crew 2 to get their feedback, to know exactly what they like.
That's a W, not even NFS can get the Supra. Exactly though, right? You know, it's still a W. It's sad that it is really sad that it's that big of a W, but it is still a W that we got the Supra, for sure, man, for sure.
But it's just a step. Once again, we will continuously improve the recipe. The crew is for me a big step for the studio, for Ubisoft, for the driving genre.
And I mean, hey, just as far as my progress goes, it was around the chase that I began the channel. So, back in the crew 2, it was in the chase. I started making videos. I came back to the channel, I had like 140 subs, because I made a few dinky videos. And then I come back, and the chase drops, basically 2 weeks after I come back. And all of a sudden, the crew's the most watched thing out of all of my videos. So I just went in on that. And then I grew, and then I grew, and then by 2021, end of 2021, I had 2,000, I had 13,000 subs, and I ended 2022 with 49,000 subs. So we went from 1 year, 200, then 13,000, then 49,000, and now we're already at 76,000 subscribers. So, and now we're at the Motorfest, you know, and now I'm getting early access to things, I get early access updates, I get so much in regards to Motorfest. It's really crazy the point we've come to. The point the channel has come through. Through,
what they like.
Everything in the crew, you know.
All this community that help us really to see what they like a lot.
Yeah.
And we refine step by step. So it's our story.
The history of the crew, Chad. The history of the damn crew, man. We need some developer cameos in Motorfest. It would be pretty cool to see. It would be pretty cool to see. I mean, hey, now it's just the future, man. Now we got the Motorfest, and we got the game comes out on September 14th, an unfortunate date for the 3-day early access. On top of that, then we also have 3 months in, we've got all of the Season 9 cars from the Crew 2 going into the game. Then we've also got the Hoonigan update, which is going to be December, and then every 3 months, and maybe I'll even do a video talking about those pesky little map expansion things that are dotted about the map. We'll give a look to that. We'll give a look. But now we just see where we go from here, I guess. I guess we'll see.